Welcome, focused learners. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here. If you've ever stared at a screen full of code and thought, man, this looks like an alien language, well, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to completely demystify programming. We're breaking down the ultimate beginner's guide to learning Python, step by step. All right, let's dive right in and unlock a brand new superpower for you.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with why Python is just so essential right now. Then we'll get your digital workspace set up, write your very first code, and explore variables and logic. After that, we'll look at organizing your data, mastering functions and error handling, and finally, lay out your next coding steps.
Okay, let's jump right into section 1. Why learn Python today? I really want you to think about this for a second. Why does this specific language completely dominate the modern tech landscape? I mean, it was created by Guido van Rossum way back in 1991. Yet, Python hasn't just survived the crazy, fast-paced tech world, it's practically conquered it. But why exactly?
Well, it really comes down to how incredibly versatile it is. First off, it's all about readability. Python uses this easy, almost English-like syntax. There are no cluttered curly braces everywhere like you'd find in other languages, which makes it incredibly approachable if you're a beginner. But hey, don't let the simplicity fool you. Thanks to a massive, passionate community, there are thousands of free libraries out there. Stuff like Pandas and Django that give Python some serious horsepower. And that translates directly into massive job demand across AI, data analysis, and web development. Plus, it runs perfectly whether you're on Windows, macOS, or Linux. Honestly, it's the perfect tool whether you're writing your very first line of code or building advanced AI.
All right, moving on to section 2, setting up and your first code.
So, getting Python set up is actually a breeze, but there is one absolutely crucial detail you cannot miss. You're going to download the latest version straight from python.org. Now, if you're on Windows, listen up. You have to check the box that says add python.exe to path during the install. Skipping that is a classic beginner trap, and it makes running Python from your terminal super frustrating. As for your actual workspace, you can use the built-in IDLE editor, grab VS Code for a more pro experience, or honestly, just skip installing anything and code directly in your browser using sites like Repling.
And here we go. Every great programmer's journey begins exactly here. In Python, you just use the built-in print function, wrap your text in quotes and parentheses, and bam, the computer speaks to you. It's elegant, it's simple, and it immediately outputs that text right to your screen. Now, what's really crucial here is understanding how Python actually runs that code. See, Python is what we call an interpreted language. All that means is the code runs line by line. It executes commands immediately without needing to be pre-compiled into machine code first. And this is amazing for learning because it gives you instant real-time feedback. If you mess up on line 3, Python tells you right then and there.
Which brings us to section 3, variables, types, and logic.
I want you to think of variables like labeled boxes where you stash your information. You've got your int for whole numbers, like 25, your float for decimals, like 5.7, your str or string for text, like the name Alice, and your bool or boolean, which is basically just a simple true or false switch. Now, what makes Python so incredibly friendly is that it's dynamically typed. You don't even have to declare the type up front. Python is smart enough to just look at the data you put in the box and figure it out for itself.
So, let's see how we build this logic into loops. Loops are great because they let us repeat code without rewriting it, saving us from a whole lot of tedious typing. A for loop is fantastic when you want to iterate over a set sequence, like, say, counting from 1 to 5. A while loop, though, is a little different. Think of it kind of like a toddler endlessly asking why. It just keeps running continuously until a very specific condition changes. Like, maybe a counter reaches the number 3. The loop gets its answer and finally stops.
Of course, programs actually need to make calculations and decisions, right? Python uses the standard arithmetic operators you remember from math class, plus a double asterisk when you need exponents. But it also uses comparison operators, like a double equal sign to check if two things are exactly the same. When you combine these comparisons with if, elif, and else statements, suddenly your code can make dynamic, intelligent decisions based entirely on what the user types in.
All right, we've got the basic logic down. Let's step into section 4, organizing your data.
When you're dealing with a massive collection of items, you really don't want 100 separate variables floating around. Instead, we use these core data structures. A list is ordered and changeable, totally perfect for a shopping list. A tuple is ordered but unchangeable, which is great for fixed data, like GPS coordinates. Then there's a dictionary, which uses key-value pairs. Imagine looking up a student's name just to find their age or grades. And finally, a set. Sets are unordered and they automatically ditch duplicates, keeping only unique items. Choosing the right structure here is a total game changer for making your code efficient.
And when it comes to handling text, Python gives you some ridiculously powerful built-in tools. I mean, strings are really just sequences of characters, but Python manipulates them effortlessly. You can clean up messy user input using .lower to standardize the case, or use .strip to magically wipe out any unwanted spaces. You can even use .replace to swap out specific words, or just use the simple word in to check if a specific little substring is hiding inside a massive block of text.
Okay, let's transition over to Section 5, Functions and Error Handling. As you code more and more, you're going to find yourself doing the same tasks over and over. That is exactly where functions come in. A function is basically a reusable, modular block of code that you define with the word def. It's just like a recipe. You write the recipe once, you give it a name, and then you can call on that recipe anytime you want. You just toss in different ingredients or inputs, and it returns a specific result. It keeps everything so clean and organized.
But, what happens when things go inevitably wrong? We've all felt the pain of a whole program crashing just because a user tries to divide by 0 or makes a silly typo. Normally, everything would just grind to a halt. So the absolute lifesaver here is this 3-step safety net, the try except block. First, you tell Python to try executing the risky code. If an error does pop up, like a zero division error, Python immediately jumps to step 2 to catch it. And in step 3, it handles the error gracefully. Maybe it prints a polite little message to the user, but the key is it allows the rest of your program to just keep running smoothly.
To truly unleash Python's power, you've got to interact with the world outside your code editor. You can use the open function paired with the with statement to effortlessly read text from files on your computer, or even write brand new data right into them. Plus, Python comes packed with a massive ecosystem of built-in modules. Literally, just by typing import math or import random, you instantly pull in these pre-written, reusable code packages that can do everything from calculating square roots to generating random numbers for a game.
And that brings us to our final section, your next coding steps. So, where do you go from here? The path forward is honestly so exciting. You can dive into object-oriented programming to start structuring your code using classes and objects. You should absolutely explore external libraries too, like pandas for digging into data analysis or matplotlib for drawing beautiful charts. But honestly, the single most important thing you can do right now is build real projects. Start small, make a calculator or a to-do list, and then work your way up to something like a web scraper. Break your problems down, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and just try to practice coding every single day.
I want to leave you with this one final thought. You now understand the basic building blocks of literally one of the most powerful programming languages in the world. You've got the tools, you've got the logic, and you've got the syntax. So, what are you going to build first?
I really hope this explainer has clarified Python for you and sparked that excitement to start coding. For more, visit our website, Ferris Solution. Keep learning, keep building, and we'll catch you in the next one.